They said the neighborhood was perfect. Neat lawns, white fences, and streets so clean you could eat off them. But in every perfect place hides a shadow. And tonight, that shadow wore the name of a man who refused to bow. Darnell Jackson loved his home. He loved the hedge that lined his yard, a thick green barrier his father had planted with his own hands decades earlier. To Darnell, those hedges were more than just leaves and branches. They were history, legacy, and respect. But to Karen, head of the HOA, they were nothing more than an eyesore. "You need to trim these down, Mr. Jackson," she said one afternoon, her voice sharp as she pointed at the hedge, like it had insulted her personally. "They don't match the uniform look of the neighborhood." Darnell looked up. From his pruning shears, sweat shining on his forehead. "These hedges have been here longer than you've lived in the subdivision. They're staying." Her lips tightened. That was all the warning he got. 2 mornings later, the sound of buzzing shears jolted him awake. He rushed outside to find Karen standing with 2 hired men, hacking down his hedge as if it belonged to her. Branches fell like broken promises scattering across his lawn. "You can't do this," Darnell roared. Karen's smile was as thin as her patience. Hoa voted, "My word is law. Here, you'll thank me later when your property value goes up." She left him standing in the ruin. The hedge reduced to stumps. Neighbors peeked from windows, some shaking their heads, others too afraid to speak. Against her, 4 days, Darnell mourned. But where Karen thought she'd won, something inside him hardened. He was done playing by her rules. The very next week, delivery trucks rolled in, pallets of cinder blocks stacked high, bags of cement piled up, and workers gathered at the curb. Karen marched over, furious. "What do you think you're doing?" she snapped. Darnell wiped his hands on his jeans, his eyes cold but calm. "Replacing what you destroyed." With precision, the workers began, stacking block after block. A wall rose, gray and unyielding, taller with each passing hour. By evening, the line where the hedge once stood had transformed into a fortress of stone. Karen's face, flush red. "This wall violates HOA standards. You can't just, oh, I can." Darnell interrupted, holding up a set of documents. "City permits approved." Funny thing about walls, they're harder to cut down than hedges. Word spread like wildfire. Neighbors who once whispered now came to see. Some nodded in quiet approval. Some even smiled, grateful someone had stood up to her tyranny. Karen tried everything. Letters, fines, threats, but the wall stood firm, a silent monument to resistance. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Karen confronted him at the edge of the wall. "You're making this neighborhood ugly with this monstrosity," she hissed. Darnell leaned against a cool stone, arms folded. "Ugly isn't in the stone. It's in the way you treat people. This wall doesn't block the view. It tells the story of respect you never gave." Her eyes narrowed, but she had no answer. The weeks turned into months, and slowly the neighborhood began to change. People stopped fearing her. They questioned her rules, challenged her fines, and one by one, support for Karen crumbled. The wall became more than just blocks of cement. It became a rallying cry, a symbol of standing tall when pushed down. And Karen, she found herself isolated, her power slipping through her fingers like sand. Late one night, she stood before the wall alone, glaring up at it. But the wall didn't move, didn't bow, didn't break. It loomed silently, reminding her of the one truth she couldn't cut down. Respect must be earned, not demanded. For Darnell, the hedge's father, planted was gone, but in its place rose something stronger, something unbreakable. a wall that spoke louder than any words, declaring to all who pass by, injustice may strike, but justice will always stand taller.